Hello and welcome to the Oxford Clay Pottery podcast. I'm Catherine Tomlinson and I founded Oxford Clay, an eco-conscious pottery company. So on this podcast, we're going to be talking about all things pottery related, often with an eco-conscious twist, and I can't wait to share it with you. Let's go. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. And in this episode, I wanted to talk to you about using glass in pottery. So, in terms of using glass in pottery, this is absolutely achievable. You can actually add glass to your work. So recently I was actually in a very well-known homeware store, and I saw they actually had some coasters which actually had a combination of glaze and then the glass kind of like melted on top, but it looked so beautiful. I was like, wow, what a nice coaster. So it was like this lovely combination of like glaze and glass. So there are various ways to add glass to your work, and I used to actually do this when I went to evening classes. We routinely did this. It was a really nice thing to do. So we basically used little bits of glass and we would put it in the bottom of our pots, and then we would fire up to kind of stoneware temperatures, and then inside in the pot you'd have this like beautiful kind of like glassy pool. The glass would all melt and it would like sort of pool in the bottom of the pot and look really beautiful. So we would use glass kind of like just like odd bits of like blue glass and green glass kind of from broken bottles, clear glass. So we would also use those and just drop them in the pot, fire up to stoneware, and they would melt and make a sort of lovely beautiful colour in the base of the pot. So just to say, you can't really use glass in pottery kind of on a vertical surface. It always has to be kind of a flat surface, and also contained ideally kind of like in a bowl type shape, or the bottom of a pot, inside the pot, because glass will obviously melt, and so you need it really contained in some fashion. So I've been experimenting recently actually with glass that I've found in the street. And what I've been doing is so if I find like a bottle in the street or bits of broken glass, I've also been doing this with. So I've taken them home. I've been crushing them up with a pestle and mortar into a kind of glass kind of powder. So I've had to, obviously, like I've been really careful doing this. So I've been wearing safety goggles. I've been wearing an FFP3 face mask as well. And I've also been covering up the pestle and mortar with a tea towel when I've been actually grinding the glass to prevent like chips from flying out. So those are the precautions I've been taking. And I've sort of been doing it, carefully, not kind of smashing it loads. I've just been kind of like getting bits that are already broken up, just like little bits I found on the road. And I've just been crushing them up, into a kind of glass powder dust. And so what I've been doing with the glass powder dust is I've actually been brushing it into sort of recesses in the clay. And it's been working really well, actually. It's really nice. You get this like kind of, so I've been using lettering, and I've been pushing lettering into the clay, and then I've been brushing the glass dust into the lettering, the depression of the lettering. And then when it's fired, you get this kind of lovely filling out of the glass, of the clay writing with glass. So it's kind of like you also get this lovely kind of colour around the letter where the glass has melted into the letter. So I would definitely recommend that as like, a top tip, like impressing something into clay and then filling it with glass and then firing that. That's a really good way of using glass. I'd just like to say a sort of cautionary note in terms of using glass. So if you're listening on the podcast, on the video, I'm actually holding up a kind of dish that I filled with glass that I found. So this is, so I found this glass in the road, and it's green glass from a smashed glass bottle I found in the road, and also clear glass. And basically I just dropped this into a dish, and then I fired up to stoneware temperatures, and it's has made this really beautiful design in this glass dish, where sort of all the green and clear glass is like mixed together and filled out completely the base of this little dish. But I wanted to just add a kind of cautionary note about using glass. So this dish, the glass is actually completely crazed inside the dish, and so it's all kind of broken up as it's cooled in the kiln. And when I took this out the kiln, I sort of ran my finger over the dish, and actually some little tiny shards of glass had actually chipped off and came off. So in terms of using glass, just be like super cautious. Obviously don't use it for anything you're going to eat off. Use it for decorative purposes only, and also just kind of like, just be aware that like tiny chips of glass can actually come off if you've got large areas of glass kind of like at the bottom of a dish. But if you're using glass to fill a kind of area of writing or something that's already depressed, that can work really, really well if you're just using a little tiny bit of the glass. So I wanted just to show you this as well. So if you're listening on the podcast, I'm holding up a dish which has 3 butterflies. And the butterflies are actually, they have little tiny depressions in them. So I stuck the butterflies onto this dish, onto this stoneware dish at the leather hard stage. And the butterflies actually have like little tiny depressions in the wing. And so what I've done with the glass here is I've just, put a little bit of glass powder into the butterfly wing depressions, and then I've fired it up to stoneware temperature, and this has worked really, really well. So because there's no kind of like huge expanse of glass to kind of shatter when it's cooling down, it's actually just given a kind of bit of color and shine to each butterfly in the wings. And also being like pretty safe, so we're not having like big shards of glass kind of like coming off. And so again, this was just made from glass that I found in the road, and the powder, I just crushed it up with a pestle and mortar exactly the same way, and then just brushed it into these butterfly wings. And yeah, so that works really well. So I would say glass and pottery, you can combine them. They do kind of do look actually, fantastic. I've seen this used, like I said to you, in like a household, national houseware, homeware shop. And it did look beautiful. But just to be aware that, occasionally little tiny shards of glass can come off if you've got a big area. So it works really, really well with like small areas of glass where it's going to be, depressed into your pot, and it looks like really nice. So yeah, so I hope that episode has given you some ideas about, how you can incorporate glass in your work, just as another kind of creative tool for you. Loads of options, including glass in your work. Glass is free if you find it in the road, so it can be like a really great addition to your pottery. So if you liked that and you're interested in learning more about pottery, eco-conscious pottery, tools and techniques for potters, there's so much for you on the Oxford Clay website. There's blogs, ebooks, e-courses, video courses, and I can't wait to see you there. So the website is www.oxfordclay.co.uk.